like to call the meeting, the Planning and Zoning of February 20th, 2025 to order. We will rise for the invocation and the pledge to the flag. Dear Lord, we ask the meeting we handle today for the city of Leesburg and the decisions we make will be pleasing to your sight. We pray this in thy most holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You need to throw things.
Oh, here it is. Okay, Daniel, if you would, please, sir, tell these folks how we do business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome everyone to the February 20, 2025 City of Leesburg Planning Commission meeting. My name is Dan Miller, Planning Director for the City of Leesburg. Staff present today includes Senior Planner Diane Yeckel to my left, planners Max Van Allen and Melissa Meders de los Santos, along with City Attorney Jennifer Koch. Today's agenda and speakers registry is available on the table by the exit door. If you'd like to speak on a case, we would ask that you would sign the speakers registry and turn it in to Diane, who is seated to my left. Under the rules of participation, the meeting is conducted under the following process. Number one, the chairman will announce the case. Staff will then read a list of exhibits into the record. This will include maps, photos, text, as shown on the screens. Staff will then give the background and descriptive information on the case and provide a recommendation for the case. The applicant will then have an opportunity to speak on the case. The public will then have time for comments. The applicant will have an opportunity for rebuttal. The chairman will close the case to the public, and the commission will discuss the case. At that point, the commission will take a vote on the case and then move on to the next case. The Planning Commission consists of local citizens who are appointed by the City Commission of the City of Leesburg. Planning Commission is charged with two major responsibilities. Number one is to make final decisions on cases such as variances and conditional uses. We have one conditional use on the agenda today. And two, to make recommendations for issues to be heard by the City Commission. There's one of those cases on the agenda today. In total, there are 7 cases on today's agenda. The 2 Venice at Lake Harris and the 2 Old Mill subdivision cases will be requesting postponement to deal with revisions to those plans that have been requested by staff. The request for a conditional use permit on the West Main Recreation Facility is a final decision by this commission. Please note that you will find tentative dates for the City Commission hearings, which are listed in bold on the agenda. And please be advised these dates are subject to be changed, so we ask that you check with the P&Z staff. Our office is located across the street. Or the city clerk's office regarding final hearing dates for any rezoning cases. Finally, on behalf of the City of Leesburg Planning Commission and the Planning and Zoning staff, we want to thank everyone for your participation in today's public hearing process. At this time, Mr. Chairman, staff is ready to be sworn in and for you to announce the first case, sir.
Yes, sir. First, I'd like to apologize for being late, but I got caught in the turnpike traffic, and it is bad. So my apologies. So we approved the minutes. Did everybody look over the minutes?
We haven't yet. Get people sworn in.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there's anyone wishing to speak today, like to be sworn in,
Stand up.
stand up, please.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Now we're going to approve the minutes. Have everyone looked over the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, if you would like, I can give you a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
It's been motion properly second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, do the same. The motion carries. Thank you, sir. And we're going to old business, the new business, number one, which is going to be which is public hearing case number SCP 24420, Old Mill subdivision.
No, we need to go and.
Right. And the small scale comprehensive plan, Dan, and this is going to be postponed.
Yes, sir. The neighbors expressed significant concerns regarding the access to the site and wetlands to the south of their home. So in working with the applicant, staff is requesting that the applicant for the Old Mill subdivision will be conducting a neighborhood meeting to review the plan itself with the neighbors before it comes back to the Planning Commission. Mr. Logan Opsel from the firm of Lowndes Cantor in Orlando is here if we need to formally request that postponement.
Yes. Would you like to say anything, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Logan Opsal, 215 North Eola Drive. As Dan noted, there's two kind of major issues of note, and we have scheduled a community meeting to get some detail on that and continue to work with staff to revise the plan to ultimately be considered by this body.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want a motion?
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move on the public hearing case SSCP 24382, Venice at Lake Harris Small Scale Comp Plan, to be postponed by request of the applicant till March 2025.
I believe that was the first item and under old business, and
Okay.
this case is the first item under new business. So I believe that's case number SSCP 24420.
I stand corrected on that. So moved. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Can I get a second?
A second.
It has been motioned, properly second. Are there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed do the same. The motion carries.
Thank you.
That has been postponed until March 20th. And we'll do the same with new business number 2. Public hearing case number PUD 24-421, Old Mill subdivision, plan unit development, postponed by applicant request until March 20, 2025. Is there anybody representing that case today? Same one, so, okay. So I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It has been motioned and properly second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed do the same. The motion carries. And I'm gonna say that this next business, number 3, is with you also. Okay. Okay, well, new business number 3, public hearing case number CUP 25441, West Main Recreation Cup, conditional use permit. Go ahead, man.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the overall proposal, this is a request for a conditional use permit to allow for a new recreational and meeting center on approximately 3.2 acres of land. Property is generally located on the south side of West Main Street and west of Ritchie Road. It's right in front of the bowling alley out there on West Main. Ms. Melissa Medeiros de los Santos, the planner with the office, will be presenting the maps and photo exhibits, including the aerial, zoning, future and surrounding land use, wetlands, flood zones, and CRA maps.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. As you can see, the extended aerial shows the subject property south of West Main Street and east and north of State Road 44 South Street. The aerial shows the subject property south of West Main Street and west of Ritchie Road. The future land use for the city shows that there is industrial to the north and west and general commercial to the east, south, and west. Lake County's future land use map shows that there is urban high density to the north and urban medium density to the northeast, south, and southwest. Lake County zoning map shows there is C2 community commercial district to the north, R6 urban residential district to the northeast and south, and AR agricultural residential to the southwest. And the city's zoning map shows M1 industrial to the north, east, and southwest, C3 highway commercial to the northeast, southeast, and west, and CIP commercial industrial plan to the east. This map shows the proposed conditional use overlay as requested. And the surrounding land uses are, to the north, warehousing, office, auto repair, vacant commercial, and single-family and vacant residential. To the east, vacant commercial, lodge, office, and single-family and vacant residential. To the south, vacant commercial, single-family residential, and improved pasture. And to the west, bowling alley, multifamily residential, warehousing, and nursery. As you can see, the subject property is south of the Carver Heights CRA. And the subject property is predominantly within the flood zone AE. The wetlands, the city wetlands map shows the subject property does not contain any wetlands. And it's in Commission District 2. As you can see, the first photo is a close-up of the map on West Main Street. The one below shows it looking north across West Main Street from subject property.
Excuse me, you guys hold the talking back there, please.
The top
Thank you.
photo on this page shows it's looking east along West Main Street from subject property. The below photo is looking south onto subject property from West Main Street. The top photo is looking west along West Main Street. The bottom photo is looking north along Ritchie Road from the subject property. The top photo is looking east across Ritchie Road from subject property. The bottom photo is looking south along Ritchie Road from the subject property. And the final photo shows it looking west onto the subject property from Ritchie Road. And that is all I have, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Melissa. With that, we move to the departmental review summary. The project was sent out to all the city departments, plus Lake County government and the school board. Under the city department responses, there were no substantive comments from the city departments. And again, that means when there is no comments provided by the departments, that's indicating that the department has the capacity to serve the proposed development. The school board noted that this project is not subject to school board concurrency because it's of commercial use. Under Lake County Public Works, noted that the Public Works Department would require permits for any work along West Main and Ritchie Roads, and that the design would need to consider future development of the Complete Streets project that the city's been working on, which is a widening and landscaping project in that area. Finally, they noted that turn lanes may be needed in and out of the project. Those turn lanes would be reviewed and decided at the site plan stage review of the development should this be approved. Under public responses per Florida statute, the City of Leesburg Code of Ordinances, the notice requirements, this project was legally advertised, posted, and letters were sent out to all surrounding property owners. There were no public responses received in writing. Under the conditional use permit requirements, the proposal for this request consists of allowing development of a multi-use recreation and meeting center, which would be governed by the C3 highway commercial zoning district requirements. So it's essentially allowing the recreational center and multi-use facility, meetings, recreation type place, to go in there in the C3 zoning district. Within that zoning district, this type of use does require a conditional use permit, otherwise it would just be a permitted use. In addition, they will be required to be on city water and wastewater, so there's no wells or septic here. Staff would like to note that there was no wetlands on the property, but as Melissa indicated, a significant amount of flood zone area. So in dealing with, there's a big difference between wetlands and flood zones, and on flood zones, as long as those can be mitigated by creating what's called compensatory storage or retention pond, if you will. And the property, the land itself has to be built up to 1.5 feet above the base flood elevation, which is determined by an engineer surveyor. Under the recommendation for this project, the West Main Recreational Conditional Use Permit, CUP 25441, Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of the request for the following reasons. Number one, a conditional use permit is required for the proposed use under Chapter 25284, the zoning use table. Number two, the request meets the criteria set forth in Section 25-141 conditional uses and Section 25-284 district use regulations of the City of Leesburg Code of Ordinances for the granting of a conditional use permit to allow for the development of the recreational center within the space on West Main. Three, subject to conditions below, the proposed conditional use does not appear to create a detrimental impact on the surrounding properties. And four, the request does not create a negative impact or inconsistency with the City of Leesburg comprehensive plan. The conditions placed on this are pretty simple. It's number one, the condition is granted to allow the permittee to develop recreational space and educational programming in the C3 zoning district, which is highway commercial, which is the zoning district it has on it now, as per Section 25-141 and 25-284 district use regulations of the Land Development Code. And the conditional use permit is subject to all of the City of Leesburg code requirements, including zoning and building code regulations as amended. And three, the granting of this conditional use permit does not exempt the applicant from other applicable regulations of the City of Leesburg and other governmental agencies, as well as assessment of impact fees necessary for the completion of the project. Four, the violation of any of these conditions may result in this permit becoming null and void. And five, the conditional use permit has to be executed within 90 days. Therefore, the action requested is vote to approve the conditional use permit for the subject property to allow for the development of recreational space and educational programming. This is a pretty simple one, Mr. Chairman, because the property lies within the C3 Highway Commercial Zoning District, and that is the city's most intense level of commercial development within a zoning district, but a conditional use permit is required to do the recreational type use there. Staff had no issues with it. There it is. Okay, the site plan is up on the screen, and you can see they're planning on creating on the north side the retention area, this Main Street going across West Main Street going across the very north part of the property. Retention being created, and then the recreation center down here on the southeast portion of the property. Ms. Lynn Dudley was supposed to be here, but I don't know if she was able to make it yet, Mr. Chairman. I don't see her here. I'm sorry? She is here. Okay, thank you. But staff has worked with Ms. Dudley on a number of cases before,
Yes,
so
sir.
we have no problem supporting it.
So,
I have a question of staff, Mr. Chairman.
come right here, sir.
Is all this recreation indoors on this facility?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. I forgot
Yeah.
to say it's indoor.
Where's the entry road? I'm sure I see it, I just don't see
If you
it.
look on the right, there's Ritchie Road, entrance is there. And there's no entrance directly off Main showing at this time. That is, because this is a conceptual plan, that potentially could change, but I don't think it will because of the speed on Main Street and because you have Ritchie Road there, and then just a couple of 100 feet west of there, you have the entry to the bowling alley. So the access points here are probably unlikely to be changed unless there's some engineering reason with the soils or something that no one knows about at this point.
So they can also enter through the bowling alley?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of businesses over there do enter through the bowling alley.
That's correct. Yes, sir. But the main entrance planned to be used would be on the Ritchie Road
Road, yes, sir.
sites there.
So if the applicant is not present, is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak? Go right ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I represent the owners of the bowling center and that piece of real estate. And although conceptually the plan is fine, it will have no impact on my business. My concern is if you're coming east on Main Street, the first entrance they're going to see is the bowling center. And the comment that was made earlier about other businesses use our parking lot to go through there, that's with our permission. And the total employees of those other businesses are less than 10. And if an event is being held, people start streaming into my lot, it endangers the customers that I have. We have primarily a senior citizen business there. So my request is that if the board sees fit to pass this, that my business is protected. More importantly, my customers are protected by requiring a fence to eliminate people going from my parking to their parking and creating a potential problem with the customers.
And quick, go right ahead.
Yes, sir.
Is the bowling alley parking lot ever filled up?
Yes, sir, it is.
It is?
It was just about an hour ago when I left.
So from top to bottom, everything would be?
Well, the spaces all the way on the street, they weren't. But I can see where it being a problem. People get confused, and there's nothing going to be marking that, and they come up literally next to my front doors.
If some sort of a curb or island was built between that property and your parking lot, on your property, to channel the traffic away from the parking lot, would that work in your mind?
If it's high enough, I mean, it's got to be high enough that, you can't jump that curb.
Or is speed tables, speed tables will really deter people from going in certain ways unless they really want to go in that parking lot. I'm thinking about that because although we want extra businesses and we want to see Leesburg grow, we want to be friendly, and so we want to be good neighbors. And fences can be intrusive, and they can be intrusive looking. I understand your concerns, for sure. And I was just thinking, is there a more friendly neighbor approach to that?
Thank you for that question. In terms of the fence, yes, you could require a fence between the properties. The code, which we should have brought this up when we were making our presentation, the code requires a 5-foot landscape buffer between the properties. And I think that we can add that to the conditions here. And it has to be trees and shrubs and ground cover. And if you want it to have a curb, we can make sure that it has a curb. But that would have to be in a motion. And that would go,
Is this the area right here?
that would go right here. The bowling alley's over here.
If there's an ingress there.
That is an ingress, you're correct.
So that's what you would like to have closed off?
Yes, sir. Well, I need the ingress to come into my location, and her property line runs off of that ingress. It moves to my right and comes about halfway up. And if I'm reading it correctly, the parking is going to be just below the current building that's drawn there. So we'd have to come about halfway up between the entrance to my business and the bowling center.
Dan, could you please show me that on that? Because I'm confused at what he's saying. You could.
Let me back up a step if I might. What staff is recommending, and it's required in the code, is 5-foot landscape buffer running here. This is going to be tough to close because under our comp plan, there has to be cross-access between properties. So with respect to what this gentleman is saying, I get what he's saying, but it's going to be tough to close that one because technically there's supposed to be some way to access the properties without having to get on the Main Street and go around. But if we can keep one open and do a landscape here, that at least it's only one space to get in one area to get in there.
And we could add did it add speed tables or, you know, or,
I think the issue is just, he wants to have a separation so that this is the bowling alley parking and this is the rec center.
and that's there,
And-
that's
and
gonna be
by
there.
doing the landscape buffer, that's gonna encourage people to come in over here.
Dan, is
But
there,
I can't-
I don't see an access on Ritchie Road.
It's up top, it's a south, right?
Doesn't, it comes through
I thought it
the
said
south.
south.
You're right, I'm sorry.
You gotta come down
You
to
have
the
to come all the way
south
down.
and then
Yeah,
go
yeah.
You have to come down,
west.
You have to
here.
come
Is-
down
is that-
here.
Is this part of the
but-
property?
But we probably will want one here. This is a conceptual
Yeah.
plan,
So this,
so it's not finalized by any means.
does the bowling alley have to come off Ritchie Road as well, or is there another entrance over here?
The bowling alley can come in right here.
Comes right off of Main Street.
And off
Right
of
here?
Main.
Okay, then that.
They have two, the
that's
bowling
not-
alley has two.
Right.
So that should be something with just, as an emergency exit?
We'd probably make that
put it
emergency.
Like a gate?
Okay.
So
So
it
that-
would be, it would, I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
So it would be, there's a 5-foot buffer, landscape buffer that would definitely be there.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we could consider making that an emergency egress, the one that, where the parking lot is shared with the bowling
bowling
alley.
alley,
I like that.
I would agree with that. I mean, you know, I protect my entrance. That entrance stays as it is. And I protect my customers because the parking lot gets full and people get confused. And if you have something starting in 10 minutes,
Well, and
they're
that's why-
rushing to get in. That's,
Those speed bumps, you know, when you have speed bumps in the parking lot,
Yeah.
that slows down a lot of people. It make you think, you know.
I've had to do that in other locations with shared properties. You know, this, to my understanding, is not a shared property.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, can you say your name for the record, please?
My name is Lawrence Ross.
Thank you.
I'm the Senior Vice President of Operations for AMF, representing iStar.
Is there anyone else like to speak on this from the audience? If not, we'll close it to the audience and we'll have discussion among ourselves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dan, I have a question. Is this City of Leesburg or privately owned property?
It's privately owned property.
Okay.
So our motion needs to be with, is there anything that we need to
With-
consider?
If they have the access point that they'd be gated and that there be a 5-foot landscape buffer between properties. What I'm thinking is if we can eliminate the gate, but we're supposed to have access between properties. So I've got to look at the comp plan and be sure that we're not violating that with respect to Mr. Ross's concerns. You do have to have cross-access on properties, but I think that may be covered by the access point down south. So I want to review that. And we won't be able to make that final determination until the actual site plan were to come in for full review after full engineering. This is, what we have here is a drawing, but not full engineering.
Right.
I'm sure
So
this
if
gentleman
we're
would like to
able-
be included in that.
So if we're able to eliminate the gate, then we just have a 5-foot landscape buffer and it should all be good. Because I think the cross-access would be covered down on the south.
We can speed bump it if we have to.
Okay, if you say eliminate, the site plan would be changed, not showing a drive where we were talking about
Correct.
putting a grate.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I got you.
That
All
would
right.
eliminate that drive completely.
If the
we
access
can
is
do
to
that.
on the south side, off of Ritchie Road, going directly to their side,
Yes,
behind this property.
Because we're going to want one drawn in there on Ritchie Road. I was looking at the thing backwards a minute ago, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to want one drawn in over here about halfway up Ritchie Road that is directly across from one of the parking lot access points. We're more than likely going to we'll have one here because they own part of the road. We're probably going to want one right here. to
Oh,
come
yeah,
in here.
oh, yeah.
Right.
So,
You have to
yes, sir.
revise that whole parking plan.
Yes, sir.
And this, so that would eliminate that up top there.
Yes,
We wouldn't
ma'am,
have
that
to
would
have that at
eliminate
all.
the issue for Mr. Ross completely.
Oh, okay. So what do
And I
you
think
need from
that's what
us?
would-
Yeah,
Because
okay.
it would look better than a gate or something like that.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
It would allow the 2 access points and we're all
And
covered.
everybody has,
Right.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
So what would our amended proposal sound like then? What would we be looking for?
Gate if needed and 5-foot landscape
Approval
buffer.
before we get a revision to the site, a revision to the site plan, or do we?
It would be
Okay.
adding conditions to the conditional use permit, adding 2 conditions. One, a gate if needed on the access point between properties, and 2 would be a 5-foot landscape buffer between properties.
Well, I would move that we, Dan said it.
Ditto.
Vote on what he said, I move that we, regarding COP 25-441, that we approve per.
141,
Mr. Mayor.
141. I second.
It has been motioned and properly second. Are there any further discussion? If not, we take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowers House,
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron.
Yes.
Okay. So now-
Did the motion pass?
Yes, and the motion carries. Thank you. I'm trying to get ahead of myself here. Okay, we move on to,
Oh, your computer went down?
I'm good.
Oh, okay, yes,
Our
sir.
next new business will be public hearing case number SSCP 254226, Two Boats Investment LLC, Small Scale Comprehensive Plan Amendment.
And Mr. Chairman, could you also announce the next case as well, because these are going to be treated as one for presentation purposes and voted on separately, if
Yes,
that's
sir.
okay?
Yes, sir. We can do that, sir. And with that would be new business number 5. Public hearing case number RZ 25427, Two Boats Investment LLC, rezoning. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under the overall proposal, we have a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment that takes the 1.22 acres generally located east of South 14th Street, US 27, and south of Howard Drive. Under the comp plan, small-scale comp plan, it takes it from Lake County Urban Low to City of Leesburg General Commercial. And under the rezoning, it would take the property from Lake County C1 Neighborhood Commercial to City of Leesburg C3 Highway Commercial. Now, again, the property is on the east side of 14th Street, just south of Howard Road, just a little bit south of Lake Harris. Consists of 1.22 acres. This is, see, we got the annexation, small-scale comp plan, and rezoning. And the request here is to annex comp plan and rezone, and then upon completion of that, the owner would like to develop a 3,000 square foot warehouse. Currently, the site contains a small parking area and a 3-suite office building which houses some small businesses. I think there's a hair place and a beauty salon, yes, sir. And so this is a straight rezoning. It's not a PUD. It doesn't have any conditions on it. It just goes straight to C3 Highway Commercial. Planner Max Van Allen will be presenting the maps and photo exhibits, including the aerial zoning, future and surrounding land use, wetlands, flood zone maps, and CRA maps.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. The first image is the extended locator showing the subject property north of north of County Road 25A and east of US Highway 27 South 14th Street. The next image is the aerial showing the subject property south of Howard Road and east of South 14th Street, US 27. The future land use surrounding this property includes city general commercial to the north and west, and the Lake County urban low-density future land use surrounds the property to the east and south. The proposed future land use for this property is general commercial. The surrounding zoning includes C3 highway commercial to the north and west. The surrounding Lake County zoning includes C1 neighborhood commercial to the south, R1 rural residential to the east, and R6 urban residential to the northeast and southeast. The proposed zoning is city C3 highway commercial. The subject property is just south of the 27441 community redevelopment area. And surrounding land uses include residential to the north, east, and south, vacant commercial to the north and south, commercial to the southwest, vacant government to the northwest. There is no flood zone present on the subject property, nor are there wetlands present. The subject property is directly south of Commission District 3. Signs were posted on February 7th. The top image is showing a close-up of the sign on the subject property from Howard Road. The bottom image is looking north across Howard Road from the subject property. The top image is looking east along Howard Road from the subject property, and the bottom image is looking south across Howard Road onto the subject property. The top image is looking west across US 27 from Howard Road. The bottom image is a close-up of the sign on the property from US 27. The top image is looking north along US 27 from the subject property, and the bottom image is looking east from US 27 onto the subject property. The top image is looking south along US 27 from the subject property. And the bottom image is looking west across US 27 from the subject property. That's all I have, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Max. Moving into the departmental review summary, the project was sent out to all the city departments, including the Lake County Government and School Board. There were no substantive comments from the city departments. The school board notes that it does not impact the local schools as a commercial project. Lake County Public Works did note they will likely require additional right-of-way and permitting from their Public Works Department for access on Howard Road because Howard Road's a county road. Public responses per the Florida statutes and City of Leesburg Code of Ordinances, the property notice requirements were sent out, the project was legally advertised and posted, and letters sent out to the surrounding property owners. We have not received anything back from them as of yesterday. Under the request, this is a very simple proposal. It's an annexation, small-scale comp plan, and rezoning for a 3,000 square foot warehouse with parking and retention. Under the recommendations, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
For Two Boats Investments, case number SSCP 25-426, the small-scale comp plan, Planning and Zoning Department is recommending approval of the request for the following reasons. One, the project meets the requirements of Chapter 163.3187 Florida statutes for small-scale comp plan amendments. Two, the proposed request is compatible with the surrounding future land use designations of Lake County urban low density and city general commercial. Three, the proposed request is compatible with this with the proposed zoning of C3 highway commercial. And four, the proposed future land use designation for the site is consistent with the city's growth management plan, future land use element goal 1, objective 1.6. The action requested is to vote to approve the small-scale comp plan amendment from Lake County urban low to City of Leesburg general commercial and forward this recommendation to the City Commission for their consideration. Under the recommendation for the zoning for Two Boats Investments, case number RZ 25-427, the Planning and Zoning Division recommends approval of the request for the following reasons. One, the proposed request for a C3 highway commercial zoning is compatible with the current surrounding zoning districts, including Lake County R6, C1, R1, and City of Leesburg C3. Those are urban residential, neighborhood commercial, and rural residential in Lake County, and C3 is highway commercial in the City of Leesburg. Two, the proposed zoning is compatible with the proposed future land use designation amendment to city general commercial. Three, the site is located near existing utilities on Highway 27. And four, the proposed request does not appear to create a detriment to surrounding properties based on the proximity to US 27 and existing and developing commercial corridor. The action requested is to vote to approve the proposed rezoning from Lake County C1 Neighborhood Commercial to C3 City C3 Highway Commercial, and forward this recommendation to the City Commission for their consideration. I believe Mr. Doug Wade is here to speak on this. I believe Mr. Wade owns the property. He just wants to build a warehouse and annex into the city, build a warehouse, and that's it.
Yeah, if the applicant present, would you like to speak?
My name is Doug Wade with Two Boats Investment. My wife Christy Wade also is part of it. We own a surveying business, of course, in Lady Lake, and we've had that business at that location for 21 years. So our main surveying client, of course, is basically going south with all their work. So our crews go by this location every day, and it came up as a option to purchase. So we decided that we would try to relocate our office close down here to, closer to work, and also in the city of Leesburg. We live in the city of Leesburg, and, why wouldn't we want to be annexed into it? So that is our proposal. There's an existing building on site, and then the warehouse is going to store just our work trucks and stuff in the back. This is not hardly any, I guess, traffic, coming in and out. So, but that is our intention, is to build a warehouse in the back for our work trucks, and then remodel that existing building for our office. If you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer.
Any questions for the applicant?
So I have one. So the existing businesses are not going to be there anymore?
No, ma'am. No.
Oh, okay.
And they're a month-to-month lease. So.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
If no questions for the applicant, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak towards this? If not, I close it out to the audience, and we have a discussion among ourselves, Commissioner.
I have one question for Doug. What boat do you have and what boat does she have?
I think you know the answer.
Any discussion? If not, I close it out, and I will entertain a motion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. On public hearing case SSCP 25426, Two Boats Investment LLC, I recommend approval for the small-scale comp plan amendment.
I'll second that.
Right.
It has been motioned and second. Are there any further discussion? If not, we'll take a roll call vote.
Commissioner O'Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowersox.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Simeon.
Yes.
If you'd like, Mr. Chairman, I'd move on to the rezoning.
Go right ahead, sir.
On public hearing case RZ 25427, Two Boats Investment LLC, rezoning, I recommend approval.
I second that.
It has been motioned and second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll take a roll call vote.
Commissioner Simeon.
Yes.
Commissioner Carter.
Yes.
Commissioner Sanders.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowersox.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Kaplan.
Yes.
And I think that's our last case for today.
The first two, Venice at Lake Harris, we need to postpone those.
Oh, we need to.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I believe we need to go to old business number one, Venice at Lake Harris. Did we postpone those already?
You had not made a motion to postpone those, just the new
The
business.
new business only.
Oh, yeah, we postponed those prior to this meeting to
previous.
Venus, right?
Old business?
Old business.
for those to a date certain,
Yes.
so they're okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to be sure that we're okay.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
All right.
Okay. Yes, sir.
That's all the business we have?
That's all the business we have. There any other business for the board, you need to discuss with us, Dan?
Yes, sir. Max, can you help me hand out the comp plans? We brought hard copies of the newly approved City of Leesburg comprehensive plan for you.
Oh, my.
And,
Is this required reading?
yes.
By the next meeting, there'll be a quiz.
Is there an audible version?
Are these for us to keep?
Just to let you know, I'm pretty
Oh,
sorry.
really? Oh, okay.
Very nice.
That works for me.
I did not.
This for us, John, and did this just for you.
I have one, thank
That's
you.
kind of cool.
Thank you very much. I shall read it.
I'll answer all questions by reading it now.
So, as I stated, I think in a previous meeting, we had a number of people on staff working on this very hard, and the other folks who were not specifically dedicated to this were picking up the slack that the other people were leaving behind while they're working on this. So it truly was a team effort. I'm very, very proud of this document, and I think our whole staff is. They did a wonderful job. We wanted to state that we appreciate your support through this time, because this is a 2-year project to put all that together, and took numerous, as you can see in the credits pages, I think it may be on the back cover, took a lot of people working together, the city attorney's office, city manager's office, city commission, planning commission, and a whole bunch of staff, not just planning, but different staff in the city. We feel like it's well done, nice document. It's got each chapter, each element, which is, you might want to call that, think of that as a chapter, has a different color and an icon, and so you can tell where you are. We divided it up a little differently than a lot of comp plans. The plan itself consists of the goals, objectives, and policies. That's what we use when we're making our reviews. The data behind that supports those goals, objectives, and policies is technically not part of the comp plan, so we can change that data as we need to. So we don't have to go through a comp plan amendment. But I think you'll find it's, as far as plans go, it's fairly readable.
Yeah, we got 20 years to do it.
And so in 2045, there will be a quiz. But the staff did want to say thank you very much for the support on this. It's a very, very tough project, and I think my staff did a great job.
Yeah, I got a question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there a method whereby we could recommend to the city commission to give you guys a raise in salary for this hard work?
There is, and we'd like for you to take your time. The city manager's office is right down the hall.
Give them a round of applause.
We-
Yeah.
hey,
You guys do outstanding.
Thank you. We thank you all.
And it's in color.
Yeah. Teach me, you teach me a lot. For real.
Yes.
Okay.
Good job, Dan.
Now, you did mention at the last meeting that Mr. Senate, we need to do something about the chair.
Yes, sir, and with the chairman, whoever's the chair for the year out, I think we should put it off until
Okay.
we get the actual chair who's here to be able to
Yes,
vote.
sir.
And let's see, we missing Mr. Ackerman, Frazier, and Tim today, the chairman of this, as I just said. So we want to have as many people as we can when we do make nominations and vote.
Yes, sir.
So that, but the staff is very pleased with and very happy to be working with this commission. You guys have done an excellent job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Was that a raise for us, too? No? Okay.
You don't work hard enough to get money.
I don't take any money anyway.
So if there's no further
His wife snatches his salary check every time it comes in.
I never see
meeting
it.
adjourned.
Thank
All
you.
right.